And since we're mostly teachers and very few students, then I guess we can talk about what do teachers do? Because I have a feeling, for me, that teachers are not supposed to teach at all. I have a feeling that teachers' job is to inspire and to make the students want to learn, and to show an example of what could happen if you get this knowledge. What would you do? Why is it useful to you? And if a teacher can light the fire underneath the student, then I think the students will do the learning on their own. But if the teachers try to teach and the students have to cram, I think there's going to be a lot of forgetfulness going on, and very little return on investment. So I propose that we, as fellow teachers, all get together and try to inspire each other to remember that we're in the inspiration business, and we're not about spoon-feeding knowledge or making students cram for examinations or even trying to get degrees or certificates or qualifications for which they're not really entitled. The examination is life. And so we make a distinction between our spiritual practices and our spiritual life. We say that the only value of a spiritual practice is that it reminds us to lead a spiritual life. And I want to do that much spiritual practice until I can lead a real spiritual life. And that's what I found in Hindu Dharma. I really found a way of life. To me, it's not a religion, it's a way of life. We have this fabulous definition for Hindu. It comes from Tantra Sara, the ocean of all the tantras. Very nice name. It says, Himshayam duyateshcha, who abhors violence in every form. Sada acharana tatpara, who strives for harmony and truth, sadachara, in every behavior. Go pratima sevi, who loves wisdom, who respects all teachers of wisdom, who practices some form of one-pointed meditation. Sa Hindu mukashabdavaka. Such a person may be called Hindu. So when I learned that definition, I was just amazed, because I always thought there were a billion Hindus. And then I started wandering around India looking for a Hindu. And it was hard to find. It was really hard to find someone whose behavior manifested the qualities of the definition. I had legal training. I went to law school. I won't say any more about that. But I learned that all the elements of a definition are included in the definition. All the issues that have to be addressed are included in the definition. And here we are looking for someone who practices nonviolence in every behavior. In man vachanam, and not with their mind, not in thought, not in their speech, not in their body. Someone who is striving for harmony and truth in every behavior. Someone who loves wisdom, someone who respects teachers from every path, anyone who exhibits wisdom. And someone who practices their own spiritual practice. Sa Hindu mukashabdava. And that's how I found ShreeMaa. The first Hindu I met. It was really amazing. In a country of 1 billion Hindus, I found one. And I didn't leave after that. I saw that what she was saying and what she was doing were the same things. So a couple of months, I guess a couple of weeks ago, we were in Rishikesh and we met one Pandit. And I said to the Pandit, Namaste. He said, oh no, you're sannyasi. Sannyasis don't say Namaste. I said, well then who would say Namaste? If a sannyasi can bow down and appreciate and respect the emblem of God, then who can't? He said, oh no, sannyasis give blessings. All of the householder people, they bow down to the sannyasis. I said, no, I didn't come to receive your respect. I came to give you my own. I came to share with you my appreciation. And we have an understanding that in a sadhu jhula, there are 3 commodities. You're a finance teacher, you should know all the commodities. There's pure love, which says, I accept you the way you are. There's inspiration. I will do my best to try to give you an example which will make you want to make yourself a little bit better. And there's appreciation. Thank you very much. I appreciate every effort you make. I appreciate everything you're doing because it's one less thing I have to do. At the minimum. And at the maximum, it's going to make this world a better place. So we all come into manifestation with 3 debts of karma. We have Devrin, Pitririn, Acharyarin. The Devrin is the debt to all the gods and goddesses. And we discharge that debt by making a contribution to this world. Making this world a better place because of our having been here. Doing something for others. And Pitririn, we discharge by respecting the elderly people in the way we will want to be respected when we're old. And by teaching the next generation how we want this world to become. And the Guru-rin, or Acharya-rin, we discharge by living in accordance with the wisdom that they teach us. And if we can discharge all these 3 debts of karma, I believe we become liberated. If you owe, you're bound. And if you don't owe anybody anything, that's called sannyas. Whoever establishes truth within and establishes themselves within truth, they become sannyas. Whether they wear orange cloth or not doesn't make any difference inside the sannyas. So then I believe our goal is to become free from debt. To make a contribution to this world, to live with the wisdom of the teachers, and to honor the elders in the way we will want to be respected, and to teach the young people the way we want this world to become. And this becomes our dharma, which we understand is the highest ideal of perfection. The Sreshta Adarsha. And each one of us has a Sreshta Adarsha. We have an highest ideal of perfection. We're all striving to manifest perfection in some way. Whether we're trying to become free from debt or become successful in other ways, in creating the inspiration to make this place, this world, a better place because of our having been here. Well, I think those are our goals. And I'm hoping to enlist all of you to continually be an inspiration to me, so I don't forget. Because you know this Maya, it's pretty strong. And it could grab any of us at any time and put us in another direction. And we're going to pray to each other to be perfect examples and say, hey, Swami, you don't want to go there. Swami, stay on this path. Stay on the path of Dharma. manifest your highest ideal of perfection, and give and share your pure love, and give and share your inspiration, and show your appreciation. So I told that Pandit who said, you don't have to say namaste. I said, that's my dharma. That's why I became a sadhu. So I could appreciate everything. Not just some things, but appreciate everything. I understand a sadhu as someone who's efficient. Whoever is a sadhu, they become so efficient at what they do that they do it quickly and with a minimum wastage of effort and the minimum waste of resources, and they do it efficiently. And I believe I'm in association with many sadhus here in this room. I appreciate being in the company of sadhus because it gives me greater inspiration to be the sadhu that I know I could try to be. And if we all keep inspiring each other, well, pretty soon our little group of efficient sadhus who are sharing their love and sharing their inspiration and giving appreciation will just keep growing and growing and growing. And from my childhood, I had a vision of walking around the earth and grabbing people's hands and making it circle all the way around the earth. And I really appreciate your being part of my circle. And I hope if there's any way that I can become part of your circles, you'll please call on me. Yeah. Well, do any of you have any questions or issues or things that you want to talk about? Because I think that's the most valuable use of our time. Shreemaa?
Swamiji, could you elaborate more on you said spiritual life?
Yes.
And spiritual practice?
Yes.
So a lot of us have this struggle of allocating time during the day for practice and then karma in the world.
Okay.
So how do we strive for the optimum balance?
Well, the optimum balance, as I understand it, and I can only speak from my opinion, is that everything you do is part of the puja. So you're always doing spiritual life. All life is spiritual. There is nothing that is not spiritual. Now, if we talk about practices, we're talking about siddhanta achara, the behavior in accordance with the scriptures, designated by scriptures as the behavior through which we can achieve union. It's called karma yoga, the karma that brings us to yoga. And yoga comes from the root yuj, to unite. So we're talking about the union between the Atman, Paramatma, and me and God, and all of us uniting together. And there are 7 kinds of behavior. Puja. Pu means punya, and ja means japa. The behavior, the actions which give birth to punya, the highest merit, the privilege to sit in the presence of God, is puja. Pat, recitation of scripture. Do you know all the scriptures that I've read, at least, tell the story. Usually they tell the story of a king or a businessman who lost his kingdom or lost his business, and he went in the forest and he met the rishi and he said, "Rishi, how do I make my mind sit still? I'm thinking about everything that's gone. I'm not thinking about what's here." And the rishi said, "Well, this is how you do puja, and this is what I did to become a rishi. You could do the same thing if you want." All the scriptures. And they are passed from guru to disciple through the parampara for centuries and generations and thousands of years. And they came to us and the guru said, "Sheesh, study this, read this. This is going to be good for you. This is important in your life." Pat is the study of the history of how rishis became rishis. And it's the process through which we could become rishis too, if we so choose.
I have one question for
Please.
you. If we are respecting our action all the time,
Yes.
It's not that it's puja also.
That's part of puja. That I'm getting there though. Yeah. So there's puja, and there's pat, and there's homa. There's the fire ceremony, and we sit by the fire, and we make a union between the two fires, and we come into yoga through the fire ceremony. And there's Sangeet. Mother's a great singer, and she'll sing for us, I'm sure. But when you get lost in songs about God, you forget everything. You just think about God. And there's Nrit, dancing. You tell a story of how the gods became gods and how they were. And there's pravachan, what we're doing right now, explaining what we're doing and why we're doing it. What do you hope to get from it? And there's arpana, offering. So these 7 kinds of behavior are called karma yoga. The karmas through which we achieve yoga. The Siddhanta Chara, which has been proclaimed by scriptures and joined upon us by scripture in order to free us from the bonds of Maya and remind us that there's a spiritual life. Well, everything we do in life could be part of this karma yoga. All we have to do is take the selfishness out. And in order to take the selfishness out, we want to make Atma Samarpana, Sama Arpana, offering ourselves in equilibrium and balance. And that means maintaining the center. That means when you maintain the center, you become efficient. And when you're efficient, you're a sadhu. You make Atma Samarpana. You surrender yourself in equilibrium, in balance. You know, in English, surrender is the last thing we want to do. When your back is against the wall, your hands are in the air, the gun is at your head, you say, "Don't shoot, I surrender." But in Sanskrit, the term is samarpana. It's the first thing we try to do. And that's a very, very major distinction between the thought processes of Sanskrit and the thought processes in English. Is the last thing I want to do in English is surrender, and the first thing I want to do in Sanskrit is surrender, because then I can find my center. Then I can offer myself in equilibrium, and I can see circumstances as they are, not as I propose them to be, or I wish they were, or in any other way I would color the circumstances to fit my opinion, my attitude. So, in answer to your question, Srini, we're going to try to start the day with puja, and then take the bhavana of that puja, that everything I'm doing is an offering to God. And we're going to carry that through every action by respecting our actions, paying attention to our actions, focusing on the efficiency of our actions, and removing the selfishness. And if we are successful in doing that, we can maintain the objectivity which is necessary to be a sadhu, to be successful, to be efficient. Because you know every mistake we make is because of a lapse of attention.
Right.
And if we could learn how to pay attention, we would achieve the optimum efficiency in every action we perform. Do you know, when you love someone, you pay attention to them. And when you respect someone, you pay even greater attention. When you worship, we pay even greater attention. When you learn, you pay attention. Meditation is the practice of paying attention. And through meditation, we learn how to learn, and we learn how to love, and we learn how to respect, and we learn how to worship. We learn how to unite with whatever we choose to unite with, whether it be our work, or whether it be our worship, or maybe there's no distinction between the two of them. And that would be my suggestion, is try to remove the distinction between your work and your worship. Try to make everything we do a test of efficiency, and make it karma yoga. So there's no I. There's no me and there's no action. There's just doing to the optimum of efficiency. How can I make this better? How can I create a greater inspiration? How can I share more love? What we call seva is the opportunity, the privilege to demonstrate the sincerity of our love. It's different from work. In work, I'm going to make an exchange. There's a little bit of a negotiation going on. But in seva, I just want the privilege to say I love you. In how many ways can I say it? You bake me a cake. Thank you. You're going to dance for us. And that will be joyous too. And I'll bet your mom will sing a song. And how many ways can I say I love you? In English, we talk about chopping wood and carrying water. And those are just ways that I want to say I love you. So when you go to your office, or you go to your classroom, you go to your school, you go to your whatever work you're doing, you go to the kitchen, you're going to chop vegetables instead of chopping wood. I'll chop the wood, you chop the vegetables. I want to say I love you. And it's not enough. The words aren't enough for me. I want to manifest that love in action. And that's a privilege to me. That's what we call seva. It's not, you cook the food and I'll eat it. Or I'll do the dishes. It's not an exchange. It's not a barter. It's when we come to God and say, I just want you to have this. Just so you know what's in my heart. And we come to our friends and our partners and everything we do. There's no reason we can't come with that same attitude. And I believe, Srini, that's going to be the attitude that will free us from the distinction between spiritual practices and spiritual life. If we could just say there's just life and it's all spiritual. I mean, spiritual actually means it's metaphysical, it's beyond the physical, it's incorporeal, it's beyond this body. And isn't this beyond this body? Just this bhavana, just these friends, this respect. And you came to see us. I really appreciate that. You give me even an opportunity to share my love. I appreciate that. That's your seva to me. Namaste. Are there other questions? Well, if there are no more further questions, I suggest that... Oh. I thought we were going to dance.
We went to Kashi last week.
Yes.
We went with my Guruji.
Yes.
I'm aware, at least intellectually, of much of the things you say. And I've experienced a little bit of that as well. But I was not able to take Banaras. And despite my intellectual knowledge, stick to the Shiva inside, disregard everything else. This is what you're coming here for. I tried hard to do that. I didn't try hard, it came naturally to me. In the Kashi Vishwanath temple, I was very happy. My Guru asked me to offer tender coconut and tambula. I did that. We also did Mitra Seva and bathed. I was happy doing that. And then I found myself getting irritated with the pandas, with getting thugged, looted everywhere. I didn't want to pay any attention to that. Rushed it out of mind. I just hated myself for succumbing to that weakness. in my guru. He's never spoken to me like that. He wasn't angry, but at the end of he's very gentle. Smile, what reasons why I love it so much. So he said, you must not get irritated. You must control yourself. You must understand why you are here. Stick there. Be there. Don't look at anything else. Of course, that calmed me a lot. I was able to. But I just hated that moment of weakness. It moved me enormously. We talked to Ramya and ShreeMaa before we left. Ramya told us that this is just Shiva everywhere. We could feel him. When the boat took us to all the ghats, the feeling was divine. The boatman said, this is the Maharaja of Indore. He built this to come and die here. This is various. That was extraordinarily moving. Extraordinarily. And this moment of weakness.
Every time we fall or slip, we just want to pick ourselves up, brush ourselves off, and get back on the path. One of the things that we're going to cultivate is forgiveness. And we're going to forgive ourselves as equally we want to forgive others. So obviously we're all not there yet. If we were, we would just be sitting in silence. But we're not. And we'll be honest, we're all not there yet. So we will make mistakes, and we will have these experiences and these emotions and these feelings, and when you do, the next thing is to get back to your center and get focused. And remember, Kashi is the city of light, and Shiva is here in the form of light, and he will never leave Kashi. And every time you go to any one of those temples, you can ignore the priest, because you're not there to worship the priest. But he is providing a valuable service. He sweeps the floor, he takes care of Lord Shiva, that's okay. He maintains the temple. But I know exactly what you're experiencing. I've had the same experience myself, and I do on a regular basis. There were times people wouldn't sell me a book. Wait, this book is only for Brahmins. You can't read that. You can't have this kind of Sanskrit book. Only Brahmin priests can have this kind of book. Then I had one friend who was a Brahmin priest. I said, buy this book, please. And he bought it. Handed it to me. Everyone was happy. But there are just so many abuses in the name of religion, and we won't go there. We won't. I'm sorry that they made their living doing that, but that's not what I want to do. I didn't become a sadhu so I could get, I'm not a Sikha Pandit. I'm not trying to earn a livelihood. This is my life. I mean, I really believe it. So, you really believe it, I know. So then, if people are abusing or they're misusing, they're cursed. And that was the curse that was given in the Chandipat at the very beginning. Brahma Vishapa Vimochanam. You have to remember, why are you doing this? Why are you worshiping? Why are you doing this puja? It's not to earn a livelihood. You're not, what are you going to do? You do better as a professor. I'm sure. But it's not to earn a livelihood. It's for life. It's because you really believe it for life. This worship is going to bring me into harmony with my own soul. So now when you see people who have forgotten the reason that they're doing it and think that they're going to earn a livelihood, you've got to have nothing but pity on them. I mean, if the guy earns 100 rupees in a day, he's doing really well. I used to get a rupee and 25 paisa. I don't know, it was 45 years ago, when they counted in annas instead of in rupees. So we have to have pity on them, that they forgot why they're doing what they're doing. And that's what I really want. I thought I was going to talk to a bunch of students and not all their teachers, but I really wanted to tell the students, remember why you're doing what you're doing and don't lose your perspective. It's just so easy to get caught up in the Maya, especially when you're dealing with other people's attachments. You're finance and you're in the stock exchange and you're moving other people's money, OPM we call it. You're moving other people's money, and everybody, Ramakrishna said there are two things, Kamini and Kanchi. And they bind us all. And you know what, Swami Nikhilananda came in, he was living in New York City in 1940s, and he translated it as women in gold. And I thought he was way off base. Because Kamini really means all desires. And Kanchana means all resources necessary to maintain the desire. And it's not just women and gold. I wish it were that simple. But it's Kamini, everything you desire. It's like rock the beach in the Chandipat. One drop of desire hits the ground and another desire is born immediately. Until everywhere you look, there's nothing but desire. Only Kali's mouth was big enough to consume all the desires. She took away all the desires. All we have to do is pray to her to take the desires away. Pray to the Divine Mother. She is the energy of all energy. And if she chooses, she can give the energy to the desires. And that puts us on the treadmill and say, okay, you need some kanchana for your kamini. You do. They're very expensive, these desires. And how many of them own us more than we own them? I have an ashram. We have an ashram in California. And for us to come to India, we need a chokidar, pujari, a cook, and a cleaner, and someone to open the gate and close the gate, and a gardener, and everybody else get to take a trip to India. The ashram owns us. We became the possession of the Kami. And for all of us, the desires really own us more than we own them. So now we need the vivek, we need the discrimination, we need to understand how much of that desire do I really need? What is my real goal? What is my real goal, my real focus, my lakshya? And Lakshmi is the laksha of all the lakshyas. And that's why her Bij mantra is Shreem. Sha means Shanti. Ra means your mind. E means your heart. Anuswar means perfection of peace in your mind and your heart is the lakshya. And that's why she is the goddess of wealth, because what your lakshya is where your mind is, and that's what you're thinking about, and that's what is important to you, and those are your values, and that's your wealth. She's not just sitting on the cash register in the Gujarati grocery store. She is the lakshya of all lakshyas, the supreme lakshya. And once we know that, then we can figure out what is too much and what is too little. I mean, when you have too much or too little, you got to ask for what? How do you know how much you need until you know what the goal is? Most of us just want more. So I thought I was going to talk with students today, and I would tell them, please remember the lakshya. Remember the goal. Define the wealth. Define your earn out. Get your exit strategy together before you get hooked. Because you will.
Yes, students do so.
Oh, no, you're the professors. You're the teachers. I'm so privileged to be in such an association because you all have the understanding. You all have the understanding of what it means to share your love and inspiration and get your students inspired so that they want to learn from you. They want to follow your example.
love God, but sometimes I hate God with the same intensity. Sometimes, and it is the central and most intense connection. Most of the time, God fuels me through inspiration, and but there are other times when I feel like I'm pushed towards God by other forces. And I love and respect, I realize these are guiding forces. This happens when I go astray and I get involved with the Kamini and Kanchana and all of that. And things go on haywire and I realize I'm just being pushed back into alignment. But, and then it's like an escape. And then I feel like I'm running away from other things, and that's when sometimes I feel like I have this almost hatred kind of towards God, because A, I'm suffering, and so I'm moving towards Him, and B, the question in my head, sort of, if worded in English, would be something like, I'm not so sure I chose to be born. Like, you took this call, and now, you didn't take my permission before you gave birth to me, and now look what I have to do. I have no other option left, so I feel like I have no option. And I know that God gave me free will, but at these times I feel like there's no option but to go back. And I go back sincerely, but I feel that kind of cringe that I'm coming back to you only because it's so clear that there's nowhere else I can go. And both these forms of going back to God feel very differently for me. I like them both. Eventually they both feel nice. But I'm wondering how I can be more in the former and less in the latter. And also I think both are very selfish.
Or how do you reconcile the two? Wouldn't that be the...
Yeah.
That would be... How do you reconcile them?
I don't know. I live divided.
Oh, can I offer a suggestion?
Yeah.
My mother is the goddess of karma. And my father, Lord Shiva, is the goddess of free will, the god of free will. And I'm a child of them both.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Huh? Mom and Dad are both with us, and Mom says, as you sow, so shall you reap. You will enjoy the fruit of your karma, whether you like it or not.
And she pushes.
And she pushes, And Dad says, wait a minute here, you can change it. You've got a free will. You make a sun cult.
You are loved.
You can do it any way you want to. You don't have to do it this way. And we're kids of both of them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, and sometimes Mom wins the argument, sometimes Dad does, but you know what? We keep getting pushed between them both because we are children of them both. And that's how I would reconcile it. Just like in every other family, we got to make Mom and Dad on the same page. Don't you have to do that? We want Mom and Dad to work together in the same way. Okay, stop a minute. Let's think this through. This is the direction Mother's pushing me in. And Dad says, stop a minute and think about what is your ultimate goal? What's the Lakshmi? What's the Lakshmi? What's the wealth that you're pursuing? And is this the only way to get there? Or maybe there's a different way we could take. Let's use our discrimination and analyze the situation, and then we'll budget our resources. Yam, take control. Niyam, establish a discipline. Establish a budget. Asan, harmonize all the physical necessities. Pranayama, put your breath into harmony. Mantra is written in Chanda. Every mantra has a Chanda. It's a mathematical formula. If we inhale the number of syllables in the mantra, we're practicing pranayama. Whether we're mathematicians or not, we're practicing pranayama. For example, if you say, there's classic pranayama rhythm is 1, 4, 2. Purak, Kumbha, Recha. Purak. Darya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Young, take control by defining the goal, and that will define the path. And then you'll have the discrimination to discern whether this is extraneous to my goal, or if this is a desire that I should be pursuing. Or should I go mom's way, or should I go dad's way? Niyam, make your discipline. Make your budget. Allocate your resources. Allocate your time. How much time can you spend here? How many flowers do you have? How much do you... Whatever your resources are for whatever your goal is, in that way, yum, asan. Organize your workspace. Organize, this is what I have to work with today. This is what I was working with a little earlier this morning. But I go to my office and I look at my workspace, and that's my asan, and I organize the task to be completed, and and I segregate, and I organize, and I even inside my computer on my desktop I have an asan. And then pranayama. I inhale and I exhale. And I put together all the ingredients. You do that in your kitchen. You made the cake, you put together the various fruits and the various vegetables and the flour, and you mixed it all together, and you combine it. Yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahara. Bring it all to a focus. Dharana, contemplation. There's three: a subject, an object, and a relationship. I love you. Three. There's a contemplation. Dhanam, savikalpa. The relation is so strong, so intense, it doesn't have a word. I, you. Samadhi. You. Ashtanga Yoga. Niyam. Niyam. Create your discipline according to your goal, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, or an Indian chief. Same padoti. The system is the same. Then asan, organize your workspace. Pranayam, invite all the ingredients to unite. Pratyahara, bring all your senses all to a perfect focus. There is no duality. I am, and the task is, and I'm doing. Dharma, dhyana, samadhi. And it works whatever profession you choose, in whatever way you choose to unite. We have 9 Durgas. We say the first, Pratmam Seva Putricha, the first is the goddess of inspiration. Dvitiyam Brahmacharini, second is the goddess of study. You get inspired by somebody, you want to study what they're doing, why they're doing it, how do they do it, why are they doing it that way. Tritiyam Chandraganteti. Chandraganta is the goddess of practice. Kushman Veti Tapashya. Adding heat to the egg, the embryo becomes Kushman. Panchamang Skandamateti, she becomes, she nurtures divinity. And then we overcome the darkness of duality. We become one with the great radiant light. We become Naman Siddhi Datricha, the grantor of perfection. Excuse me. For any goal that we select, This is a siddhant, how to achieve that goal. Take the inspiration and cultivate the knowledge. Take the knowledge and put it into practice. Take the practice and refine it to perfection. Then become one with the ever-pure one. Nurture your own divinity. Give up your ego. Give up the darkness of duality. Become one with the great radiant light. And ninth is the grantor of perfection. Navadurga Prakirtita. This was a formula for success in every field, in every endeavor, in every way that we would want success. Whether it be Sthula, Sukshma, Karan, Sharira, whether it be Bhautika, whether it be spiritual life or material life, it doesn't matter. You use the same formula. You take an inspiration, you see someone who's doing it, you do it the same way they do it, you become shish to their guru. You become a apprentice to their journeyman. It's the same thing. You see someone who does it well, who's got it together, who has organized it nicely, and you do it the same way. And you learn why they do it that way and how they do it that way. You put that into practice, and that is the path. So I think that we could reconcile mom and dad. And we could reconcile spiritual life and spiritual practices. Any other reconciliation?
This business of getting the ego out of the way. I'm not sure I can even formulate the question precisely, but I try. At one level, one says that as long as you live in this world and you're responsible for doing certain things, you do that with a sense of mamata. This is my, I have to do this well. It's me doing it, I have to do it well. And then at the end of the day, one sort of intellectualizes and comes back and says, well, whatever happened during the day, even this thought that I'm thinking now is your doing. It's not me. So, I mean, I'm nothing, it's you who's doing everything. At an intellectual level, one sort of probably understands, and I'm not sure I understand it that well, but I think I do to some extent. But how does one know one has internalized it truly, in the sense that when can one know that at least to some extent one has been able to set aside one's ego and one is merely doing one's role or playing one's role as an offering to God, as you suggested earlier?
Well, I take a different approach, personally, because I don't think I can get rid of I. Cogito ergo sum. I think, and therefore I am, and as long as I'm thinking about it, I'm still with me. And I don't want to be that I with me. So what I would rather say is, I am doing. And I'm doing it because I love you. And I am so privileged to have this opportunity, because you allow me to show my love for you. So I do. And I do it again and more and with greater love and greater intensity, because it's such a privilege to me. It's not enough for me to say to you, I love you. I really want to show you. And that's why I do what I do all through the day. Not that you invited me here, but now that I'm here, what a blast. What a neat place to be. I mean, what a great world he gave us. That I get to come around the world and meet people like you, and you're all respectable people, and you're nice people, and you're good citizens, and you're really, really bright. You're really bright people. And I get this privilege. Can you imagine I mean, little old me, just a little puny me. I get to come around the world and shake hands and kiss babies and pass out cigars and whatever is required to show that I love you. For me, that's enough. I'm not trying to get rid of my I.
But how does one connect that to the idea of Atma-Sampatti?
I am in the equilibrium. I am in the balance. I'm maintaining my center. I'm maintaining my poise. I'm still in my asana. You haven't moved me off my asana yet. She will when she starts dancing. I can dance too. Not so easily. I'll try. I maintain the center. I maintain the balance. I maintain my focus. I know what my goal is. I know what I want from this relationship. I know what I want from you. And I think you can give it to me. I really believe firmly that you are totally empowered to give me that much I want from you. Because you're a sadhu too. And I know what you've got. I've already calculated your assets. You've got pure love, you've got inspiration, and you've got appreciation. And if I get that, I'm the richest man in the world. That's all. That's all I need. Somehow we'll get 2 chapatis together and we'll split them. Or a cake. But other than that, I don't think I need too much more from you. I'd be really happy with those 3 things, though. Why don't you sit in the chair?
Yeah.
Let me come. I know what I came to get. And believe me, you're delivering. And I wouldn't leave unless you did. I mean, I'm a business person. I came to do business with you guys. And I know we have to trade. We already did the accounts. He's my chief accountant. He gave me the lowdown on all of you before you even entered the room. He said, these guys got a jola full of pure love. They've got some inspiration. They got some appreciation. What do you want? Get what you can. So I'm here to trade. For me, that's enough. I mean, it's really a blast to have friends around the world who are really good friends, who are really fellow lovers, who are really full of inspiration. Because that reminds me that, hey, don't be a spoiled sport. You have to get up and do some more. Give what you can, just like everyone else is trying to give the best. And if we could remind each other all the time, whether we need it or not, and that's why we do the puja every day. Remind me. I don't think she needs it too much, but I do. I got to remind myself that, you know, it's really a privilege to serve her any way I can. So I'm not worried about getting rid of my I. In fact, I want to become the biggest ego of all egos. I'm the great egotist. Shiva will help me. I want to remember that. I'm not trying to get rid of the ego. I'm trying to expand the ego to its ultimate extent. And in the meantime, I'm having a good time trying. It's really fun to go around and see how many people I can make leave work and come and spend the morning with me. And give up all their responsibilities and become, you know, they say some people are good for some things, other people are good for other things, sadhus are good for nothing. And if I can make you sadhus, and we'll all come and hang out for the morning and accomplish nothing, what a great accomplishment. I'll just leave it. It will be fine. Do we have any other questions or other issues?
That's beautiful.
Sure. Namaste to you.
Happy? Everybody happy?
Now can we see what it is? I'm speechless.
Everyone in the band.
Okay. Do we need some music or some, or we'll sing, or we'll? Oh, she needs music. What will you do for music?
She can bring her music.
Okay. Oh, then you get a pass. Could you come tonight?
Actually, my husband is out of town.
That's even better.
No, I think it depends on him.
Okay. What do you say?
Usually, in the evenings, I don't know, he likes to